Ladies, gentlemen, I am Mickey, and you are watching Need for Heat, a channel dedicated to everything hot sauce and fermentation. And yes, we are going to nerd out. Fermentation is a land where dreamers can still exist. What we are going to make today is a Mexican-inspired fermented hot sauce. It's called Trece de Mayo, and it's the all-time favorite of wifey.
Bienvenida la Juana, tequila, sexo, marihuana.
It's going to be smoky, a touch of fruity, garlicky, everything that reminds you of Mexico, except the pina coladas. And these are the ingredients what we need, our mise en place. Let's look at our ingredients. We have Ancho Peppers, Chipotles. Now, I wouldn't be too hung up if you only have Chipotles. Absolutely fine. Both of them are smoky, both of them are slightly fruity. I do prefer a mix of it. Fresh pepperoncini style peppers, just from the supermarket, to add a little bit more of this like mellow chili flavor, but a real chili aroma. Sliced carrots. I steamed them until soft, because at the end of it, we will puree the sauce, and it just purees a little bit easier if they are soft. We have a capsicum pepper, or how you folks call it over here, a bell pepper. Fresh ginger, and a clove of garlic, and we're going to use half an onion. The not-so-silent star of the whole fermentation, we've got a couple of Reapers, 1.2 million Scoville. So we're going to take it easy on those, but this is going to add the extra heat. For our brine fermentation, just regular plain salt. When you make a fermentation, make sure that your salt is not iodized. Iodized salt doesn't work. Then we've got a fermentation jar. That's 1 liter. By the way, all the recipe is going to be for 1 liter. But you make less, you cut it down. And then, not absolutely necessary for the fermentation, yet I would strongly recommend, we have here a Czech Abyss house lager or something similar to enjoy. As we say in Austria, Prost. There is no reason to be a Indiana Jones of fermentation right off the bat, but there always is the underlying tendency to push it pretty far. This is quite conservative. What we do have here is we have quite a bit of dried produce with our chilies, and in order for the fermentation naturally to start, we need to add a good amount of fresh produce, because this is where the lactobacillica that is starting the whole magic lives on. A good trick is either if you made a previous fermentation and you did keep some of the fermentation juice, you could add this as a starter, or you break up a couple of cabbage leaves and you put them in. Cabbage has a ton of lactobacillica on it. But what I'm doing first is I'm going to add our dried chilies to soak into some water, soften them up a little bit, easier to cut, and rehydrate them. And now, let's chop it all up. Something that you might want to know. Lots of people say that the heat is in the seeds. That's partially true, but most of the heat, and actually around 10 times more than what is in the seeds, is in this little rib that is running along, the ribs inside the chili. So if you really want to cool down a chili, don't just take out the seeds. Make sure you take his rib cage out as well. That's where the heat lies. Carrots. Garlic. I'm going to use on this one about, let's do 4. You like it more garlicky? You go for it. We do our ginger. I'm just going to roughly cut some of the skin off. About half or a third of the onion. And now our chilies have been slightly soaking. What you do not want is that your chilies or anything has air pockets. That's why I'm always cutting them in half as well, because air is not a friend of your fermentation. This is where bacteria can breed. Now here we are, all chopped up and ready to go. So the next step that's going to happen now is we are going to fill our fermentation jar. We are going to make the brine. So we did a little cleanup, and here we have all our ingredients mixed together that we chopped up early on. First thing that we are going to do is we are going to make the brine. Now, I watched a couple of videos where people say, you take salt of the total weight. No. What you do is you measure your liquid and you make your liquid about a 3.5, maybe 4% brine. Don't go over 6% because this is not going to be great for your fermentation at all. What I did is I actually used the liquid early on that we soaked the chipotles on, because it retains quite a bit of smoky flavor and it's lekker. This is 1 liter. What we are doing, we are going to add 3.5%. A liter is 1,000 grams. We need to add 35 grams of salt. There we go. A little more. All right. That's now a 3.5% brine solution. Very important. You want to make sure that all the salt is fully dissolved in the brine. For convenience, I'm using my little blender stick, otherwise whisk it up, but I'm a man of leisure here. Right, I give it a little test with my fingers, that there is no salt residue on the bottom. It's all dissolved, and our brine is ready to go. At this point, I very much would like to say thank you to my sponsor, Jack Abyss. I'm only kidding, maybe one day. We are ready to char it all up. Very important. We are now going to add our reapers, and you want to do this right at the end because it is fumy and it is spicy as. So put on your surgical gloves. Easier than said. Okay, not ideal, but it's gonna do. You don't want to touch your private parts or anyone else's without proper protection from the reaper. Good. I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reapers for a 1-liter jar. We're going to chop them up a little. And as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, as I know I'm the evilest motherfucker in this valley. Woo, I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel it on the back of my throat. I can feel it in my eyes, in my nostrils. Yeah, they've got some heat. Right, let's start the layering. You want this all to be pressed down fairly firmly, nice and compact. All right, rest of the reapers. Good. Here we are, looking good. Let's clean this up because there's reaper everywhere and I don't want it on me. Neither do you. We cleaned up after the evil reaper and we are ready to go. What we got here? We do have our chilies and we have our chopped veg. We do have our 3.5% brine solution. Again, what I did was 1 liter of water, mixed it with 35 grams of regular non-iodized salt. I made a little bit just with plain water on the side that we are going to use for our air vent. As well, what I do have here, whenever I make a fermentation, I keep a little bit of the fermentation liquid on the side. So when I mix it in, it's really kick-starting it all off. And those little fellas are multiplying and exploding like mad. What we are going to do now is we are going to fill up our jar with the fermentation liquid. Press it down, make it nice and compact. Oh, it smells already good. There we go. I wanted to say, since you made it as far, let's do it. Please like and subscribe. And I'm adding about half a cup, 3/4 of a cup. Off we go. You don't want to fill it all the way to the top, because when the fermentation begins, the liquid is going to rise. You just want to make sure that everything is covered. But leave about an inch, I would say. Good. Something else. When I'm watching the YouTube, I see a lot of people talking about, we're gonna let this fermentation go for about a week. 9. It's not going to happen. From here on out, control is out of your hands. Control is about as real as a one-legged unicorn taking a piss at the end of a rainbow. You have to watch your fermentation and see what happens. But let's say, give and take, about 3 weeks is reasonable. Tabasco is a fermentation that takes 2 years. I mean, we're not going to push it to those, but yes. What you want to do is, you don't want any air pockets in here. So we're gonna stir it a little bit around. I use a chopstick, which works perfectly. And you will see the liquid level is dropping. Give it a good poke. And we then top it up again. Right. We added our fermentation weight. Good. We've got this one here now set up and ready to go. We're going to close the fella. And I do have here an airlock. I'm going to pop this in nice and tight. Perfect. And I'm going to use, just with regular water, my salt water solution. And this is going to seal the airlock. Ready. We are now ready to go. And I shall hopefully see all of you folks in 3 weeks.
Looking at it 1 week later, when moving the jar, CO2 bubbles rise to the surface, telling us the fermentation is in full swing. Everything looks healthy, no unwanted growth of any kind. All is clean and clear. We are in for success. Sit back, be absent-minded, watch it all unfold in front of you like a slow game of cricket, with no rush. In the video description, you can find Amazon links with all food produce and equipment that are used in this video.